Hey there. Well, today I'm here. I want to show you something that I've been doing. I just got a new camera, and that's what I'm rolling on right now. It's more of a test run for me. My channel that I've got posted, this is what I've been using. Galaxy S10. It's a good phone. I've used it for about a year and a half now to do my recordings with, and it's come in handy. But this time what I'm trying to do is a different thing. That being said, let me go on with the reason why I'm doing this recording. You know, I've gotten on YouTube and I tried to look up things, and one thing I do try to look up, or I have been trying to look up, is reviews on particular books. And for some odd reason, it just want to send me to a website where I can actually buy the book. I'd like to know what I'm buying first. I mean, I went ahead and bought the book anyways. I had already bought that book, and but that's what it did. That being said, the book I want to show you is For the Love of Pawpaws by M.Judd. That, my friends, is a good book. I really like the way it's laid out. I really went through the book, looked it over when I first got it, and it's got a lot of information in this book. This book is more or less a hands-on how-to book. Where can I grow pawpaws? Chapter 1. Chapter 2, choosing a good pawpaw tree. Growing pawpaws from seed and grafting. That's Chapter 3. Pawpaw planting. 101. Ecological tree care. The art of harvest, fruit handling, and processing. And there's even a chapter in here with recipes. What do I do with all this fruit? Now, this book right here is laid out in such a way that it's intended for somebody to learn about pawpaws. Has the introduction, just like a lot of other books. And one thing I will say that this book does have an awful lot of is a lot of illustration. I mean, it's loaded with illustrations inside this book. And I have to say that it's an impressive book. Choosing a good pawpaw tree. And it even talks about the types of pots that you use for pawpaws. And it also has a section here is why planting young and small is important for fruit trees and bushes. All right. And potted plant versus bare root. So I enjoyed going through it. It talks about bred cultivars here, and it's a good reference for me. I got in here and I got to looking at different varieties of pawpaws and made a decision on what it is that I would like to have, which, by the way, I ended up choosing Overlease and NC1 to start with, and I have mango and sunflower, which the mango, I'm not particularly sure if I'm going to like that, but I'll give it a try anyways. The sunflower, biggest reason why I thought about the sunflower is one thing that I've been reading up is sunflower seeds from the sunflower are good seeds to start for rootstock, according to what I've read in this book and another book that I recently did a review on. This also has Peterson pawpaws in here, Susquehanna, Potomac, Shenandoah, and it's got a few others. It's got KSU pawpaws in here, KSU's Atwood, KSU's I think it's Benson, yeah, and KSU's Chappelle. And then you got Jerry Lehman's selections in here, Mary's Joy, Lehman's Delight. It's just a good all-around book, and talks about the Kentucky State Pawpaw Research Program, growing pawpaws from seed to grafting, which I've done that already. There's a section in here about collecting and storing scion wood. As a matter of fact, let's see what it says right here. What is the best rootstock? Yeah, it's got a little bit in here about Jim Davis and notes that he's collected. And then it talks about the tools and materials you need for grafting, and it also gives you an illustration of how to do a cleft graft. And that's a very, very good thing to have at your disposal. And it talks about planting pawpaws, the best way to protect them, to plant them and stuff like that. And I really, really enjoy this book. This book has come in handy whenever I want to figure something out, try to look into things. It even talks about shaping young pawpaw trees, thinning versus heading. And that's a pretty good section in that book that I kind of like, as far as how to on your pawpaws. And you know, while you're thinning them out, you're also collecting the scion if you have a tree that's desirable for you to want to gather up some more. And one of the things, you know, it talks about the critters and the zebra swallowtail butterfly, how the caterpillar eats on the leaves of the pawpaw, and that pawpaw is actually a host for that particular butterfly. And it just keeps going on, and through here I'm thumbing through some of the recipes that I see in here. It's very, very interesting. And special mention, pawpaw moonshine. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here that talks about pawpaws and permaculture. Commercial growing and marketing, homestead nursery, and Pawpaw Festival, which I went to the Pawpaw Festival here in Ohio. I live in north central Ohio, and I bought a couple of grafted trees there. I bought a NC1 and an overlease, which, by the way, even though we had the hard freeze, I was able to protect them to a point that I didn't lose nothing on them. However, I did lose flowers on pawpaws that were older out there. But I got one tree out there in particular, every one of the flowers fell off it from this heavy freeze. And let's see if I can get in here and take a look at some of the mentionings, resources of pawpaw organizations, groups, education, and research. North American Pawpaw Growers Association, a little bit about them. Kentucky State University Pawpaw program, it talks about that. Peterson's Pawpaws, a little bit about that. Which, by the way, the other book I got had some good information in there about Neil Peterson that I enjoyed reading. And then, let's see, I want to try find, here we go, nurseries. Got a number of different nurseries listed in here. West Farm Nurseries, Twisted Tree Farm, to name a few. One particular one that's in here, Red Fern Farm. That's where I ordered my scion wood from, as far as the overlease and the NC1. But all in all, you know, you go through this right here, and you got resources, permaculture resources, that is, and additional sources, books, which, by the way, the Grafter's Handbook. I may have to take a look into that one right there. And The Pawpaw by James A. Little. I may end up taking a look at that book as well. The recent one I just recently gotten is Andrew Moore's Pawpaw in Search of America's Forgotten Fruit, which I've already explained that there too is a good book. But anyways, this book right here has been a good book as far as a tool as getting in here and really looking at how to. It's a mini manual for growing and caring for pawpaws, from seed to the table. And I really, really like this book. He did a good job, Mr. Judd, Michael Judd. He did a very good job with this book. From my understandings in the back of the book, people that he has made mention of probably had an awful lot of influence on his book He's thanking a number of people that has helped him along the way, and which, you know, it's good to have people to help you. Did special allocations to a number of people, and it's good to have that, you know, that it's that community, the community of people working together. You know, me myself, as you all know, I share an awful lot of videos, and the videos I share are about pawpaws. Yes, I have shared other videos on chestnuts, persimmons, oak, which, you know, later on down the road I'll get into them much more. I've really gotten into the chestnuts. I've got quite a few of them out there. Anyways, just something I wanted to share with you, and you know, it's a good book, it's a good read, it's a good manual. Can't take nothing away from that. M.Judd, you did good. The skeeters are trying to get bad out here. Anyways, my name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. And don't forget to click on that bell for notifications. Y'all have a God bless day.